Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It is Monday, April the 7th. Um, we're so glad you joined us today for another Maximize Monday. I'm Pastor Nick. There's Maya
Okay.
right there. And we are here today, and we're so glad you've joined us. It may be rainy and cold outside, but God is good. And today is Monday. As I always say every Monday, it is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and we will be glad in it. Just something to help maximize your Monday, something during lunchtime, something that started during the pandemic. And we said that we keep it going as long as we were watching. As people still watch. So,
We're
it's
still
big.
here.
I think we're the only one that still survived the online.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's shifted around different ways, but
yeah, it shifted around. Yeah, it changed up. But we're so glad that people still watch. Please do us a favor and share this, like it, subscribe to our channels, and comment. We want to know who's watching. If it's your first time watching, please type VIP in the chat. Let us know who's watching, where you're watching from. Just want to shout out and say hello to you all on this great and glorious morning. We had a good time in service yesterday, both morning service and communion. If you missed it, go back and check out service yesterday as we prepare ourselves for Easter.
yeah.
And this Friday I need to do a Holy Week video just to, hey everybody, this was going on this week.
Okay.
I cannot believe Palm Sunday is Sunday.
I feel like I feel like we had this conversation last time too. These past few weeks or month have just sped by.
Yeah,
So Easter is literally like right here.
right. Yeah, because February felt like it took forever.
Mm-hmm.
And March stuff starting to feel like it's speeding up a little bit. But yeah, we're let's say Good Friday. Palm Sunday is this Sunday.
Yeah.
Um, we have to get some time to try to do a video Palm Sunday evening talking about Palm Sunday. Do a quick video on Monday, quick video on Tuesday. We'll be here for Bible study on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're going to have a prayer miracle service. We want you to be here on Thursday night at 7 in person, as well as our Good Friday service on Friday. I think the service starts at 7 or 7:30. I can't remember right now. What do
Okay.
we? Do you remember?
I thought it was 7.
Okay, it might be. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know. You'll hear more about it. Good Friday. I think it does start at 7. We'll be here unless Bishop wants to push it back to 7:30. And then, of course, Easter Sunday, 11 o'clock here. Come on out. Don't worry about Easter clothes. Just come to church. Amen. Whether you're dressed up, dressed down, come to church Easter Sunday. Invite somebody out. We want to see you in the building on Easter Sunday the following week. But we're getting ready for that. We're sowing our first fruit. Bishop talked about some yesterday, the influencer. And it's going to be a great time, Lord. Don't forget, we're still on our Lenten journey. Okay? A few weeks left. And all y'all that did do Lent, don't go crazy.
Yeah.
Don't go crazy. Oh, chocolate. You're going to just go in and just gorge.
Oh no. Gotta
Don't,
pace yourselves.
yeah. The whole premise of it is to, not go back to the exact thing that you were before, let it control you again.
Yeah.
We're our Lent prayers are coming up again Wednesday at 7 a.m.
AM.
Yeah, this coming Wednesday and next, let me see, yeah. This Wednesday and next Wednesday will be our last one will be our next one at 7 a.m. Come join us for prayer. And it's going to be a great high and holy sanctified time. We're also Catch the Fire, collecting homeless supplies. You can bring them to the church or give on our giving platform and click Catch the Fire.
Yeah.
Anything else I forgot as people are coming on?
No, that was good. Of course, like you said, we have a Good Friday. We also have a prayer service on that Thursday, right?
Yep, 7 o'clock. Yep.
At 7 o'clock. So outside of Christmas, this is my other favorite time of the year because, not only for spiritual reasons and for peeps, but mainly for spiritual reasons. I like how we come together and really just kind of focus in on what it's all about. So
yeah, that's good. All right. I can't remember what we talked about. We do this every single week. And
I remember
what we talk about.
we spoke on our theme for Easter on how Christ chose not to be comfortable and how that applies to our lives as well.
Talked about discomfort. Yes. Look at you remembering. Praise the
See?
Lord. You up there really remembering. Um, but discomfort, how can I say it? You have to train yourself to get used to being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And if you don't train yourself to get used to being uncomfortable, excuse me, you will always seek comfort and live below who you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's purpose discomfort. It's purposely trying new things. It's purposely pushing yourself to do things. It's purposely understanding that life is not uncomfortable. I was talking to a guy I know recently, and we were talking about sometimes, and you know, parents do this, adults do this with kids. Sometimes, in our quest to here's the catch-22. Here it is. We want our kids to be, or this next generation to be strong as we are, but
Mm-hmm.
we eliminate a lot of the things that help to produce the strength in us.
Mm.
And I get it. People that grow up poor, most of them don't want their kids growing up poor too.
Yeah.
Wearing hand-me-downs, eating government food. You want to, and you couldn't buy stuff that you wanted to buy. You want to be able to give your kids a life where they don't have to worry about that struggle.
Mm-hmm.
The, the challenge is those things, whatever it was, produce something in us, right? But then what do? We create a generation to avoid those challenges. And then we complain about how weak they are.
Mm.
They lack resilience, they lack strength. Well, we created an environment where they didn't have to be resilient.
Yeah.
They didn't have to be strong. They didn't, it's a catch-22. I remember a pastor friend of mine, we were talking about that at a panel. We were the two youngest ones. We were among the few youngest ones at the conference. And he he said it respectfully. He said, y'all complain about our generation, but who raised us?
Mm.
and he's like, I mean no disrespect, but there has to be some accountability here. That no, I don't want my kids growing up with all the struggles that I grew up with, but I also need to understand that I have to let them experience struggles
Yeah.
so they can learn that life has them, and you have to learn to overcome them
Mm-hmm.
and not make everything so easy, because life ain't easy.
Yeah.
Life is hard. Life is challenging. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't have resilience, you'll give up.
Yeah.
But it's that catch-22. So to me, you give them proper challenges
Mm-hmm.
that are appropriate for their age group, their temperament, and not make it too easy. Because what do they say? Hard times. I'm getting this wrong. Hard times create strong people.
Mm.
Strong people create easy times, and easy times creates weak people.
Wow. Yeah.
And again, it's purposeful. No, I'm not going to help you. Figure it out.
All right.
I need help. Figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
After you can't figure it out, then I'll come help you do it.
All
But I'm
right.
not going to do it for you. But if everything's handed to you,
Yeah.
how
It's
you
not going that way.
how you going to talk resilience to somebody that got $150 shirt on and doesn't have a job? I'm sorry, as my
Very
parental,
true.
adult,
It's
you
very
know,
true. Yeah. I mean, life is a battle. It's a fight. And, I, as much as you don't want to see a loved one having to go through it, like you said, they have to, because that's where they learn and become stronger. Even just thinking about it in terms of boxing, right? The trainers aren't teaching the boxers on how to, dodge their fights or the punches, but they're teaching them how to take it too and how to come back from it, right? So it's that same concept where you have to uh, teach someone or allow someone to experience how to take those hits so that when they get back on their feet, they learn from it. They can dodge it because they've already experienced and whatnot, instead of having to go through that cycle over and over again of just being in the battle. So as much as it sucks, and luckily, not luckily, but I don't have kids right now, so I'm sure that's a whole different level of wanting to protect someone. But no one wants to see someone, having a hard time. But there's so much more I think can be gained by supporting them through it.
Yeah. But even I've learned that it works even in ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Some people where it's like, if I step in and help you, you'll never figure out that you can do it.
Mm.
So I watch and I pay attention. I observe. And when I have to put my hand in, I put my hand in. But if I don't have to put my hand in, figure it out.
Yeah.
Then you learn to figure it out. And there's a sense of when you accomplish something, there's a sense of confidence. Because you're like, yo, I actually did it.
I did that.
Yeah, you rob the person of that when you don't allow them to figure it out. You observe everything. You make sure you see it and know when to put your hand in and when not to.
Mm-hmm.
But if they never learn to swim, every time you throw them in the water, they won't know how to do it. So you equip them with the best you can by teaching, instruction, blah, 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 blah. But then you also allow them to get to the place where they can figure it out and work it out. So that works job, ministry, and life. So even if somebody doesn't have kids, you're still going to experience it working with somebody. It's just knowing when to step in, when not to step in.
Very true.
Come to me with solutions. Don't just come to me with the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Those little things demand people to grow and change, to think through and to work things out. Because without that, if you make everything too easy, life is not about comfort. A lot of life is uncomfortable. And sometimes us seeking comfort is really us avoiding challenges.
Mm.
We're not strong, we're running. We're not, we don't want to deal with it, so we run away from it. And then, say I'm protecting my mental health. Well, your mental health only gets stronger when it's in a situation where it has to be stronger. And I love this new generation for talking about mental health and wanting to get strong mentally and stuff. But I think sometimes the mental health conversation justifies a sense of weakness and fragility rather than, how do we get you stronger? So you can deal with necessary challenges, not unnecessary, but necessary challenges.
Yeah. That's very true. Because I do feel like sometimes people kind of put that label on things, like you said, to try to not have to deal or to make an excuse for maybe some bad behavior, instead of accountability and still seeking proper help, but not letting it kind of put a barrier between you and, actually moving forward.
Yeah.
It's become one of those words that are just like, oh, it's cool to use, so we'll just say that.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's like somebody, they took one psychology class and all of a sudden they read one book and now they're just an expert. Like, slow down some.
Yeah.
I love hearing young people talk and they're saying stuff and I'm like, you ain't experienced much life yet. You can tell. Life is more nuanced. It's not as black and white as you think it is. And the older you get, the more you realize it's more nuanced, complex. And I love idealism, but idealism without experience and wisdom is just simply idealism. It's a dream. It's a thought. It's like Martin Luther King. We always talk about his "I had a dream" speech, which was a good speech. Wasn't wrong. What he said wasn't wrong. But later on, people ignore this. He said, I had this dream, but what I didn't realize was I was leading people, I'm basically into a burning house. And he looked back and was like, his hopes was this was going to get better. And he realized, not that he was wrong, he didn't live to see how it got better. But in that immediate couple of years after the whole civil rights thing, he realized, he's like, yo, what did I do?
Yeah.
He was completely right in what he said and his goal, but he didn't live long enough, like I said, to be able to see. And it took a long time.
Yeah.
To work out that idealism and that dream. So, you know, it's one of those things where, as individuals, all that to say, we have to get used to living uncomfortable and allowing people to experience discomfort so they can understand this is what I do when I feel uncomfortable. Again, planned, I'm not talking about like abuse and all of the crazy stuff like that. Just normal life stuff. Where you don't need your parents running up there cussing the boss out because you didn't like, something your boss said to you. Be grown, work it out.
Yeah.
That's
that's the problem. Is just they're not. How do I want to say this? We're handicapping ourselves. We're not allowing ourselves to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So when facing those situations, you're just like, I don't know how to handle this.
Yeah. Instead of sitting back and like praying, Lord, give me wisdom. Let me go ask for some advice how I deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of run away. But I want to say people have made things so easy and so comfortable that people think that's what life is.
Yeah.
It's comfort, and it's not. Oh, we didn't say hello to everybody. Hey, Karen. Hey, Brother Diaz. Hey, Helene. Carol. Helene, you and that German chocolate cake. Hey, Keefe. Hey, Jelani. How you doing? What's up, y'all? If you haven't done so, please share this if you can. But God will stretch you. Okay? He will stretch you. And you have to allow yourself to be stretched so you can discover what you're able to do. And sometimes God has to introduce you to somebody that's doing it to show you that you can do it also.
But I think that also lends to the other problem of being able to hear it and take constructive criticism and not taken as an offense or being attacked or put down or whatever, to be able to hear, okay, maybe this is something that I need to take a step back in and to look at and to learn from, instead of hearing it as, okay, these are all the things I'm doing wrong, or I'm stupid, I'm a failure, or you don't like me, why would I listen to you? Like all those sort of things, putting a positive spin on it as opposed to just taking it as a negative. And I don't know if that's easy for people to do sometimes.
No, because they look at an event as an identity.
Mm-hmm.
So rather, I tried and I failed. Let me learn from my failure so I won't fail again. It's I tried, I failed, so obviously I'm a failure.
Yep.
Rather than what did I do wrong? Let's take an assessment. Okay, it didn't work out, and then you figure out why it didn't work out. And once you figure it out, then you can move forward.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, their thing is, let me just move forward. But if you didn't learn the lesson, if you didn't deal with what happened, that thing's gonna come back and haunt you.
Mm-hmm.
If you just suppress it, bury it, what's buried alive comes back again. You have to deal with it and learn from it, and then goes to, okay, now what do I do? How do I move forward?
Mm.
But if I'm ignoring the thing, I'll move forward. And my favorite shows is Mad Men. Oh my God, it's such a good show. And just great character acting and everything. And Don Draper's biggest line is, I'm just moving forward. Everything happened. Forget all about that. Let's act like it didn't exist. Move forward. And then you keep seeing throughout the series his past come back on him, because his whole thing is this train moves forward.
Yeah.
Very alive. It's going to stay alive. You have to deal with it. And you have to watch this. Talk about comfort. You have to gain the strength to deal with those uncomfortable feelings. You have to. I was talking to somebody recently, and we were talking about somebody else. And I said, so what did you learn about you? Because every interaction with people, right? You see, and that was the same look. Every interaction we have with people that triggers something in us is telling us more about us than the person.
Yeah.
What if what's coming up is coming up for a reason? What is it saying about me? What am I learning about myself? Maybe I'm too sensitive in that area. Maybe it reminds me of something that happened to me 10, 15 years ago. Maybe I haven't resolved it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Our interactions with people, yes, we learn about others, but we learn more about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm ranting, Raven. Go ahead.
No, that's true. I was gonna say before, like when you continue to hold on to this stuff and move forward without coming to grips with things, it comes out in different ways. So like you just said, it's coming out through your relationships with other people, and it might come out in different ways, but it's like the same problem over and over again. That's because it's an issue that's not being addressed. And so, I always try to be cognizant of that. Like, okay, if I'm seeing this here and I'm seeing this here, or I experienced it back there, there must be something that I need to work on to make this something that's not going to happen again. Right.
Yeah.
So, but that still also requires us being very introspective.
Mm-hmm. And have the strength to deal with it, and to know it can't be everybody else. And it can't be everybody else's fault. If the same, like you said, if the same thing is happening in every relationship, every place you go to, there's only one common denominator.
Yeah.
Right?
Somehow we make it make sense.
I know. I remember I was talking to somebody years ago. This happened to me in this church. This happened to me in this church. This happened in this church. I said, if it's happening to you in every church you go to, what's the common denominator? It can't be every church. Some way, something we're doing, some way we're perceiving something that's allowing us to see this in each place, in each relationship. And it takes strength, and you have to go through the uncomfortable process. And it's not easy. It is hard to go through your mess and to deal with your pains and to deal with your wounds. And it's not easy. You don't have to do it by yourself either. God can send you people to help you, sane people, know what they're doing. Praise the Lord, that can help you through that process and say, look, I love you, but this needs to be worked on. It doesn't mean you're the worst person in the world, but this needs to happen.
Yeah.
In order for you to grow and develop. It's what we used to call back day blind spots. They're called blind spots for a reason. You don't see them. Somebody has to point them out to you.
Yeah.
Notice every time this happens, you do this. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. and then when it happens, you see it. You're like, oh crap, I do that.
They're right. That's the worst.
Right. Yeah. Blind spots.
But going back to how we started this conversation about how it was the generation before us that trained us up to be how we are, to not take things. What accountability can they have, and what can they do to kind of rewind some of that?
Well, you can't change the past.
Yeah.
But you can look at and say, and every parent does this. Every single parent does it. When they get older in life, they look back and say, you know what? If they're honest, I'm qualifying it. If they're honest, I was a good parent or I was a bad parent. Good parent, even the good parents will look back and say, you know what? I made some mistakes and I could have did these things better. But at the time, you're not thinking about. My mom used to always say to us, like, when y'all was born, I wasn't given a manual on how to raise all y'all individually. There was no, he gonna do this at 3. So at 3, respond like this, Right. But every parent looks back with some sense of guilt in some way, shape, or form. But then that goes back to knowing that, giving yourself that grace that you did the best you could. Because even the best parents make mistakes.
Yeah.
And her parents say, you know what? I apologize because I was too soft on you. I let you get away with certain things. But they start recalling that. And every parent goes through that time of guilt.
But I think it's important, that conversation's being had, not to shy away from, being able to say, look, I probably could have done things differently. Because then I think that, is still teaching. It's opening up that door for whoever it is to say, oh, yeah, maybe things could have gone differently. I'm going to learn different from that.
Yeah. When your kids are grown, by then it's too late to go back. You can't go back to when they were 10 and change those things. At the same time, every child eventually should grow up and have the wisdom to look and say, you know what, my parents aren't perfect, but they did the best they could. And the more you realize how complex life is, the more you start to understand your parents. And you like, I can't even fault you, because a lot of our parents were young when they had us. And it's some things start coming to perspective, and you start realizing, again, life is hard, challenging, and you start getting it after a while. and it starts making sense to you. And then you realize, as a child, you could have did better as a child.
Yeah.
I could have did this better. I could have did this better. You start looking at, made my parents' life hard when they had to bail me out of it. And,
Mhm.
but you can either live in regret or you can learn from it. That's all I'm saying. As child, but as they say, hindsight is 20/20.
Yep.
And you can live in guilt or you can live in growth. But that's one of the cool things about, I'm sure you get older, you start having more adult conversation with your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Or you start to understand them, the more compassion you can have too.
Yep.
And
you see how you're just like them in some ways.
There you go. Like, ooh, like, that's where I got that from. I got that from there. That's true.
Good and the bad.
Right. So anyway, we gotta get out of here soon. And Helene, eat some food. We about to get out of here. But we hope you enjoyed this. This week, try to make yourself uncomfortable somewhere. Try doing something necessary, something that's good that you should be doing that you haven't done yet because you're afraid. Take the first step. Get used to discomfort, so you can start learning how to do what God asked you to do and experience comfort later in life. Don't forget tonight we have Embrace class at 7. That's our class for our new members. Tomorrow night, Diamonds Women's Ministry at 7, right?
Yes,
7 p.m. Listen and don't judge. Conversation with some Our Lady preachers, and I was going to almost say females. I heard for a time the word female is considered something almost derogatory. Is it changed?
I know it's not my favorite.
Huh?
I said it's not my favorite, but
I know now, nowadays everybody's sensitive to something, so
I know. Yeah.
Can't call anybody anything. Next thing you know, call somebody a human being. Oh, how could you call me human?
How dare you?
Dare you?
That's what you are.
Right. Jesus, keep me at the cross. Oh my God. It's like with the homeless and unhoused thing. Unhoused is less demoralizing. Yeah. They're living outside. You think they care if you call them homeless or unhoused?
Look. Yeah.
Be like holding titles or something. So I won't help you get off the street, but I'll make sure that somebody calls you the right thing. Like, anyway, I'm sorry.
That's very true.
Right. But anyway, that's tomorrow night at 7. Ladies, come out. We have Bible study on Wednesday at 7. Of course, we have On Point on Saturday. I think Thursday is
Sound
Mind panel at 7. Mm-hmm. And then we have On Point on Saturday at 9. And then Palm Sunday, this coming Sunday. Want to make sure you come on out as we get ready for Easter service, Easter weekend. Of course, Wednesday at 7 a.m. we have our Lenten prayer. God bless y'all, and we'll see you later. Bye.